you like me and miss a lot of the old school MMOs such as EverQuest, Ultima, RuneScape, Final Fantasy 11, pretty much any MMO of the late 90s into early 2000s? Because let's be honest, they just don't really make MMOs like that much anymore. And of course, we still have games such as RuneScape, but maybe you are looking for something that is a little more modern, a little bit newer, but also still grab a lot of that love and care and attention that we got back in the day. Well, I got an MMO for you that you might very much want to keep your eye out on, which is, of course, Bridal Shores. And if you're not aware, the main reason you want to keep an eye out on this, you might be looking at it being like, wow, this seems a lot like RuneScape. And there is a reason for that. Of course, the game is made by one of the original creators of RuneScape, Andrew Gower. Probably butchered that last name. Sorry in advance on that. But nonetheless, he have created a brand new studio to work on Bridal Shore to bring a brand new coat of paint to RuneScape, or in general, a game that is very much still in the same vein of RuneScape, and in return might actually be another game here to actually check out if you just very much miss that type of gameplay, or maybe you just want something similar, because let's be honest, RuneScape kind of stands on its own in a lot of ways as far like what type of game it is as far as MMOs are concerned. But nonetheless, as you can see here, there is a lot of crafting, a lot of gathering, a little bit of combat, and also a little bit of like a D&D vibe when it comes to the visual, looking very similar to something you might see if you are familiar with tabletop games or D20. But with that, there is way more to this, so let's go ahead, let's just jump into this, break down everything that's happening with it that we know right now. How is it going to operate as a free-to-play game, a pay game, as well as, of course, all the stuff you can go ahead and check out that you are seeing in the trailer. So let's go ahead and start with the bigger question here, which is, of course, exactly when we can actually get our hands on this game. As of now, they are saying Q3 of this year. And of course, as you probably can already gather, we already kind of in Q3. So what exactly is happening here? And of course, Q3 do end at the end of September. So we do have ourselves about a month and a half, close to 2 months, before we bump out into Q4. And we at least have some information about all this, because lucky enough, Andrew is pretty much documenting every little detail about the game over on his Twitter account. There are a lot into that. I will have it linked below. Be sure to go hit up the Twitter account and follow him for a very much in-depth look at the game itself. But nonetheless, when it comes to the release date bit, we have a comment from Andrew directly about all of this. And of course, pretty much, once again, other than showing off a little bit of some of the professions coming in here, we do have, of course, him commenting directly on this about Q3. And as of right now, it seems like the game is pretty much still on par for this, since they have announced that they wanting the game to be kind of more episodic, coming in episodes, and they want to release the game at episode 4. So we have 4 parts to play once they come out, which should be a couple, ideally hundreds of hours of gameplay, which they are promising, but we will see how that kind of flush out once it actually comes out. But nonetheless, with them wanting to have a 4-part done, and they are officially coming, quote, to the end of part 4, that means it's a pretty good shot that it might actually make it by the end of September, maybe into early October. But nonetheless, we will go ahead and see soon enough on that, because we are getting closer and closer to the milestone they want to be at for release. So probably affect the game sooner than later, and we'll probably still roughly make the time release for Q3 or very early Q4. So with that being said, you might be questioning about the whole episodic bit. And of course, this is of course going to be made up of a few things, some classes, some new zones, some quests being broken up into a smaller bit to be released over time to ideally keep the game interesting, fresh, and content coming instead of having to deal with months on end droughts as we have seen with other MMOs, which I am personally totally okay with that as long as the content can be released roughly on a schedule that is more consistent to the design. Once again, we will have to wait and see how that's going to exactly break out. But just know with the game release with 4 parts, and then part 5, 6, and so on, will be coming at later date, spread out over time. But we will be getting new content toward the end to keep moving the story forward, keep giving us quests, and keep giving us extra loot and upgrade and items and whatnot to go for, and professions to try to level in. And speaking of profession, there are going to be many of these we can hop into. Out of the gate, we already know we're going to be getting our hands on official forging, crafting, or being a chef if you want to make food, as well as woodcutting, minor alchemy, stonesmith, merchant, blacksmith, and once again, have been teasing on Twitter about a investigation detective style class also coming in here. And if you play RuneScape, you know how important professions are when it comes to being a gatherer or a crafter. So the game will be leaning the same way of focusing a lot on being one of the crafting and gatherer type of classes. But do not worry, the gameplay itself will of course have your normal sense of combat. It's not going to be 100% crafting, so you will have a combat stuff to go for. And at the time of this video anyway, we do know of 3 classes that we're going to be getting our hands on here, with Knight, which seem to be a normal, I guess, tank type character with sword and board. And then we will also have Guardian, which is going to be our ranged character, since they do have a shield, but also a crossbow as well. And for our final class at the moment, a hammer mage, which seemed to be a dual wielding hammer class with maybe a little bit of magic toward the end there. So we do got somewhat of a mage DPS and a range, or I should say tank DPS mage. So we do have that for all of you who want to be more on the combat side of the game itself. And when it comes to the area we're going to be exploring and farming in, we do have it being a very Pacific look, as you've seen, with it looking like something out of a tabletop D&D map. But the level itself is going to be broken up into each individual rooms, being tied to a server, or I should say a instance, that will then equate every time you go from one room to the next. So this is still a little up in the air, seeming from how many players you're going to be seeing in whichever rooms or towns or outside. But it is going to be broken up into segments, with you moving from room to room, which then will load in. And of course, try to put you in room with other players. Or if the rooms are too full, we'll of course be making new instance. Of course, there was some issues that come with that kind of design, as we've seen from any game in the past that did the type of instant zones or rooms, which is, of course, getting into empty room, getting in room with too many people, or the real issue that I have run into in a lot of games of being if you're in a party and you move into a new instant, how does it handle how your party going to stay together? Will you be separated? As well, how easily you're going to be able to get back in room with your friends. As of now, they are promising they are going to try their best to keep players together, especially if you in parties. Once again, we will see how that actually ends up being once the game actually comes out. But nonetheless, if you're someone who might be a little iffy when it comes to instant stuff, just know that will be an instant MMO. Hopefully, that will be something that is extremely easy to flip between instants. If you do get separated or you're trying to meet up with your friends, we will find out once again when the game comes out. And of course, when the game comes out, how exactly are you going to be able to play this? Of course, that game will be available at launch over on Steam, and you're going to be able to get your hands on it over there. I'm not 100% sure they're going to be on other platforms, but at the moment, Steam is obviously have been verified to be elite. One of the platforms you're going to be getting your hands on this. And as I stated early on in the video, the game will be free and also paid as well. We do not know how much the paid version of it going to be quite yet. But over on the official website, we do got a little bit of a breakdown here of what we're going to be looking at here. Of course, with the whole of free and pay, it is going to be not exactly, as you can see here, free to play in the normal sense. They're probably more likely to play it more as a free trial version appeal to a paid version here, because we do have a little bit of a breakdown here with, of course, the free version of the game going to get access to 4 areas, which I believe seem to be each of the area in each of the quote-unquote episodes they are working on. So it seems like if you're a free player, you're going to get access to the 42 episodes. If you are the paid version, you're going to get access to 2 more episodes / 2 more zones. You're going to be able to get a unique character name, which we do have a little breakdown here of each individual or unique character name is one without the hat tag. I'm not 100% sure what exactly going on with that. Maybe it's a sort thing. I am not for sure. But nonetheless, paid don't have a hat tag in their titles or their name. You will get exclusive armor die, the ability to change your name, as well as player trading. This is also something I know a lot about, have been talking about in MMO for a while, how a lot of MMO do not do trading anymore for obvious reason with like gold farmers and stuff. But nonetheless, if you are a paid player, you will get access to the ability to trade with other players. Once again, we will see how this actually going to shake out here, especially once we find out how much they're going to be, because we don't know if they're going to be like a subscription thing or if they're going to be a one-time purchase. But nonetheless, that is pretty much what we got on the docket here. They did say the free stuff is going to have a decent amount of content here. We will see what comes of that. Also, if you do pick up the premium pack, you will get access to all releases of future episodes as well. So it seemed like it's leaning more towards one part, buy the game and you good. But once again, we will probably find out about that in the next few weeks as we get closer and closer to the release. And of course, when that information comes, I will go ahead and let all you guys know right here on YouTube. So make sure to do thumbs up, subscribe, hit all the bells so you don't miss out on any more information about Bright Shores. And like I said, I'm going to keep my eye on this, especially since I have a very soft spot for RuneScape from back in the day. And yeah, we will see how the game do. And once the game come out, of course, I will be streaming it here on YouTube as well as over on twitch.tv/TroyMaconn. So be sure, come on over, say hello. And also while you're over there, be sure to hit that subscribe button to become like all the wonderful folks here that is subscribing over on Twitch, as well as hitting that wonderful join button here on YouTube to become a member for 99 cents. And of course, also everybody over on patreon.com/Maconn. And of course, I will have links in the description, not only to where you can follow me everywhere, as well as, of course, you can check out the official website for Bright Shores, so you can check out any more content coming. And of course, the link to Andrew Twitter as well, so you can keep up with everything he is posting, because like I say, he posting a lot over there about this game. So all that will be below. And for now, that's going to go ahead and do it for me for today. I will be back tomorrow for any more MMO how-to guys and everything in between. So, like always, I will go ahead and see you in the comments.